All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry about yesterday's devotion. I never did get to that in the morning, but I had a really long night. I was monitoring a puppy who was not feeling well, so um, I didn't get any sleep that night. So in the morning, kind of the last thing on my mind was devotions, and I apologize. But today's devotion is the reading is from Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 to 9. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. "This is amazing," Moses said to himself. "Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it." When the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," Moses replied. "Do not come any closer," the Lord warned. "Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, "I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites now live. Look, the cry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abuse them." The devotion today is titled Sovereign Intervention. Barbara grew up under the care of the British government in the 1960s, but when she turned 16, she and her newborn son Simon became homeless. The state was no longer obligated to provide for her at that age. Barbara wrote to the Queen of England for help and received a response. The Queen compassionately arranged for Barbara to be given a house of her own. The Queen of England had the right resources to help Barbara, and her compassionate assistance can be seen as a small picture of God's help. The King of Heaven knows all of our needs and sovereignly works out his plan in our lives. As he does, however, he longs for us to come to him, sharing our needs and other concerns as part of our loving relationship with him. The Israelites brought their need for deliverance to God. They were suffering under the burden of Egyptian slavery and cried out for help. He heard them and remembered his promise. God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. He instructed Moses to bring liberty to his people and declared that he would once again release them into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Our King loves Our King loves it when we come to him. He wisely provides what we need, not necessarily what we want. Let's rest in his sovereign, loving provision. Why is it important for us to bring our needs to God in prayer? How can you learn to rest in God's provision, whatever that may be? Thank you, Lord, that we can bring our needs to you. Help us to be content in whatever paths and provisions you choose. And I realized while I was doing the reading that I didn't do the prayer requests first, so we will do them now. Gary Scandal's youngest daughter needs prayers. Her life is spiraling out of control with bad decisions and addiction. He also has a friend who lost a son this year. Heart of Gold Cuisine is requesting prayer for patience. Bruce Haas Batman needs prayers for guidance. Jan's Life Journey requested prayer for a YouTuber named Amy from What the Paranormal. Her mother had a heart attack. Mrs. Hopkins, 73, has a friend who lost her mother. And Susan Robertson has to go to the eye doctor because there is something going on with her eye. So prayers that she finds out what is going on with her eye and that they do what they can to fix it. Thank you for joining me for today's devotion. And I hope you all have a very good day.